How do you know if somebody loves you? This can be a difficult question, especially when you're dealing with toxic, narcissistic people, because after all, they might tell you that they love you with their words, but their behavior says something completely different. But I'm going to share with you a tool. It's centuries old that you can use to determine whether or not a person truly loves you. My name is Kevin, and this is The Royal We. Now, right away, a lot of people are going to say, Kevin, it's impossible to define love. Love can look like many different things to many different people, and this is true, kind of. The problem is narcissistic people take that exact concept and they twist it into treating you poorly and badly and miserably, yet also implying that, oh, but it's still a part of love. And I'm sure by now many of you are sick and tired of it, as I had grown sick and tired of it. The good news is that there is, in fact, a baseline of what love actually looks like. And this baseline of what love looks like has been given to us, passed down through generations from an ancient understanding of what a baseline of love looks like. And so we're going to look at this together. You've already heard this. You know exactly what it is, word for word, but we're going to look at it differently. As opposed to looking at this baseline of love and interpreting it as a way in which we need to love people, we're going to use it as a measure to judge the people in our lives, to determine whether or not they're loving us. We're going to start with the key of what love is, and that is this: love is patient and love is kind. Let's break down patience. What does this mean? Love is patient. It doesn't mean that somebody who loves you is going to stand around and wait for you while you are hours late for your dates and your appointments. That would wear anybody out, even the person who loves you the most. But patience does in fact mean a form of waiting. So when you think of the people in your life who say they love you, your narcissistic family members, your husband or your wife, do they show an ability to wait for you, to wait on you? Maybe in conversation. Maybe you're having a dialogue or a disagreement about something. Do they actually take pause after they're talking and wait for a response from you? Wait to hear your opinion, wait to hear your views? Or do they just talk at you, and then shut you off? Worse than that, yell at you and demean you and devalue you, and then say, I don't want to hear any more from you, and then walk away in the conversation. That right there is what it looks like when somebody does not want to wait for you. They do not want to wait for you mentally, emotionally, or physically, which means they do not have patience for you. And if they do not have patience for you, it's a clear indication that they do not love you. They do not love you enough to listen to what it is that you are trying to say. They lack the patience to give you that kind of courtesy and that basic love. Now, when it comes to kindness, kindness needs no explanation from me. You know what kindness is. How do they talk to you? How do they treat you? Do your family members treat you with kindness when they even are arguing with you? Yes, you can argue with kindness. You can have a disagreement in kindness. Or are they making it personal? Are they personalizing the disagreement or the argument, calling you names, cussing you out, making fun at you, poking you, making jabs at you, trying to get you irritated? You'll know that they're being unkind to you because it will start to anger you. It will get you irritated because they're purposefully being unkind to you. So if the answer to these two things, there's no patience and they're very unkind in how they talk with you and how they treat you, then there's no love, because love is patient and love is kind. Love does not envy. Now, this is an interesting one and one that we oftentimes miss. No person is going to come up to you and say, hey, I really envy you, right? Unless they're a good, honest person in your life, and somebody who loves you might actually come up to you and say, hey, I envy you, and they'll do it in love. But somebody who doesn't love you is not going to come up and tell you that they envy you. What they're going to do instead, and this is how you catch it, this is how you know somebody is envious of you, is they will demean you. They will devalue you. They will put you down for the way you dress. They will put you down for the music you like. Anything that puts a smile on your face, anything that makes you feel energetic, anything that makes you ambitious, anything that you want to go after, they will demean, devalue, tell you that it's stupid, tell you you look bad. All of this is a form of envy. Now, a narcissistic person, somebody who does not love you, will try to convince you that it's actually a problem. Your clothes are a problem. The type of music you like really is bad. But no. They're lying. They're envious. They're envious of how the music brings you joy. They're envious to watch you dance. They're envious to watch you enjoy something. When it comes to the way you dress, they're envious of the confidence and your ability to wear that. I know even right now, some people out there are envious of this jacket that I got. Keeps me warm in the wintertime, right? They're going to make comments like, oh, pimp Kevin, right? With his jacket, whatever. Nonsense. It's basically a way of saying, listen, I don't know if I'm bold enough to wear that jacket, but instead of being honest about it, it comes out as put downs. I had a client who, as a young girl, her mother would put down any top she would wear simply because she was a little bit more busty as a young woman. And so her mother would demean and devalue all of the clothing, all of the tops. And I had to explain to her it wasn't because she looked bad. She ended up having body shaming type of a situation. It affected her for life. I had to explain that her mother was envious. It was out of envy that her mother made her feel horrible about her figure and how she dressed in this life. Very sad, but you need to catch on to envy. Envy does not look the way you think. Look to the put downs and the demeaning, devaluing nature of the people in your life. If they are putting you down and demeaning you, it's out of envy and it's not love. Love does not envy. Love does not boast. If a person in your life or people in your life are constantly talking over you about their experiences, their accomplishments, how badass they are, how much things they have, how cool they are, how tough they are, whatever, all this boastful nonsense, it's meant to make you feel inferior to them. That's what boasting does. Boasting is a tool that a person will use to position themselves above you. And if they're trying to position themselves above you in status, in looks, in accomplishments, well, then they don't love you. Because somebody who loves you is going to boast about you. They're going to look at the good things that you're doing. They're going to celebrate with you your accomplishments. They're going to talk about how badass you are. But somebody who's only talking about how badass they are is just trying to diminish you, just trying to take your flame and make it small and try to snuff it out so they can feel good about themselves. Boasting is not love. Love is not proud. And when we talk about proud, we're talking about this individual type of proud or this pride. It's the type of proudness that makes it impossible for a person to apologize to you when they've wronged you. Instead of apologizing, instead of owning up to their harsh words or their yelling or their criticism or their demeaning you, something that they know deep down was wrong to do, what they'll do is they'll be proud of it. They'll be proud of it, like a sulking teenage kid that folds their arm and says, well, I'm not apologizing, right? I'm actually proud. I'm proud that I said what I did to you. I'm proud that I'm tougher than you. I'm proud that I put you down. I'm proud. This is what pride looks like. And obviously, there's no love in that. There's absolutely no love for you. That's just a twisted, sick form of self-love. That's a self-centered, selfish, egotistical, proud love. I'm proud of how I behave. I'm proud if I hurt people. I'm proud. There's no love in that. So if you have a family member or a husband or a wife who treats you poorly, refuses to ever apologize, as a matter of fact, stands off and in this stature of I'm proud of what I've done, well, that's the type of proud right there that you need to look at and say, thanks for showing me that you don't love me. There's not enough room in your world for the love for both of us. You only love yourself. Love does not dishonor others. Now, this is a big one. Oftentimes, we fail to catch this early on in toxic relationships because a narcissistic person is always dishonoring other people through gossip, through slander, through talking about others. And oftentimes when we get involved in these relationships, We're blind to that. And it's often said, pay attention to how they talk about others, how they dishonor others, because it's only a matter of time before they dishonor you in that same way. Now, I was dealing with the narcissistic in-laws, and I didn't think anything of it, but they were making fun of and poking fun of and laughing and talking bad and ill about all kinds of people. But in the beginning, I was like, oh, okay, all right. Well, I don't know him, so no big deal. Wrong. Because eventually, guess who it came to? That's right, me. I was the one who was being dishonored. My faith was dishonored. Kevin, don't bring your God around us. You think you're better than everybody else. Blah, blah. Dishonor, dishonor, dishonor. They dishonored me as a husband. They tried to dishonor me as a father. They tried to dishonor me and strip away any honor that I could have had as being a man, a husband, a father. This is what dishonoring is. And if somebody's dishonoring you, well, there's no love in that. There's no love in dishonoring. There's no love in dismantling another person, whether it's the career they have or the position they have. If they're dishonoring it, it means they're trying to crush it. It means they want to break you down. They want people to see you in a bad light. That's what dishonoring does. They want to bring disgrace, and narcissistic people work hard to do that. That's what smear campaigns are all about. It's about bringing dishonor to a person instead of honoring them. A person who loves you will honor you, will encourage you, will lift you up for being a mother, a father, will want to honor you for being in this position at work, will want to honor you for your faith, will want to honor you for your views on life, your values, your beliefs. Somebody who loves you, or is capable of love, will honor these things. If you're being dishonored, especially by a family member or a partner, they don't love you. Love is not self-seeking. Now, if you have people in your life who only want you around when it benefits them, well, that's a no-brainer. Oftentimes, people will come into your life and they'll only be around when you're doing something for them, when you're giving them money, giving them sex, paying their way, giving them a place to stay. This is a self-seeking individual that's not acting out of love. There is no love. It's all about what they can get. But watch this. It's not just in intimate relationships. Families pull this nonsense all the time too, especially around the holidays. It's very self-seeking. Oftentimes, when they invite you or expect you to show up to their holiday events, their Christmas Eve dinner, their Thanksgiving dinner. Meanwhile, they don't care enough about you to talk good about you or talk to you even all year round. Now, do they? They ignore you, probably even cause problems in your life, but you're expected to show up for this tradition, for their traditional dinner. What for? It's because it's self-seeking. They're doing it for them. They're doing it for how it makes them look. It's not for you. It's not out of loving you. If they loved you, they'd prove it all year round. But since it's just this one night, you're doing it for them. It's a self-seeking tradition that allows them to put this demand on you to show up for them. And that is not love, folks. It's not love. Love is not easily angered. Now, if you have somebody in your life who yells and screams over every little thing, you could sit down on the couch the wrong way. Chances are you're dealing with somebody who is easily angered, which means they don't love you. And when you deal with people like this who are easily angered by you, you have to understand something. They're not even angry because of you. Obviously, sitting on the wrong side of the couch is not going to make somebody angry. So you might be wondering, well, why then are they angry towards me when I do absolutely nothing? Why are they perceiving these things to be angry about? Well, it's because they're already angry. They're an angry person that lacks love already. They've always been angry. They're so angry that they're angry before they're angry with you. All you've done is just give them a hint of a reason. You didn't even give them a reason. You gave them a hint that allowed them to make up a reason to unleash that anger. A narcissistic person especially is like a steam pot, always full of anger. Has nothing to do with you. They're full of turmoil, full of chaos, full of anger. It's ready to blow anytime. So they'll make something up oftentimes so that they can let that steam out. Now, the Bible has a lot to say about angry people. The main thing is have nothing to do with them. They're fools. Don't be around hot-tempered, ill-tempered, angry individuals. They don't love you. Somebody who loves you will figure out the way in which to deal with their anger that has nothing to do with you. Somebody who doesn't love you will take any slight, any wrong look, any wrong move, and they will perceive it and twist it into a justifiable reason to be easily angered towards you because they don't love you. Love keeps no records of wrongs. Now, if you have somebody in your life who is recording all of your perceived slights in the relationship, you're going to be mistreated. Now, some of you might be saying, Kevin, I have had narcissistic people in my life, but it always seems like they weren't keeping records of wrongs. They have this attitude of shaking things off like they just don't care. Wrong. The reality is that if they are mistreating you on a constant basis, it's because they're actually taking revenge on you. This is what most people don't understand about narcissistic people. They operate out of revenge on a daily basis. They do have a recorded wrong. Maybe way back in the beginning of your relationship, maybe you looked and smiled at somebody and it upset them. And you've already apologized and said, hey, I just smiled. It's not a big deal. And you thought it was done with. No. It's been etched, it's been compartmentalized in the narcissistic person's mind, and years later, they will be demeaning and devaluing you and criticizing you and trying to cut you down and destroy you because of their compartmentalized record of your wrong. Many of you have been stuck in a relationship with a narcissistic person, and you're still being abused and you're still being punished for some little insignificant thing that you did in the beginning of the relationship. And it's because, let's say it together, they don't love you. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. A lot of times you could be in a relationship with somebody who will bring to your attention that karma is caught up to you. Maybe you've gotten ill, or maybe you've lost your job. And if their response is, oh, karma, they're delighting in it. If somebody is delighting in a tragedy or some kind of drama or some kind of conflict you're stuck in, it's obvious they don't love you. They're rejoicing. They're delighting in that. That's what delights them. I've seen this with my own eyes, with people from family who said they love, but really they're delighting in evil. If somebody is delighting over something bad happening to you, it's the same as delighting in evil. Somebody who loves you would never delight in anything bad happening to you. Somebody who loves you would never bask in your misfortune. But a narcissistic person who doesn't love you absolutely will delight in that. Now, the very last part of this is that love always protects, always hopes, always trusts, and always perseveres. It's important to understand this, that love will protect you. Somebody who loves you will protect you. And that doesn't just mean beat off all the weirdos that are trying to surround you. That's one form of protection, but that can also be a form of possessiveness. So you want to watch out for people who are like, I'll protect you, baby, as they're fighting off anybody who walks by and throws you a smile. That's possessiveness, and chances are that's a person who doesn't love you but wants to own you. All right? When we talk about protecting you, protecting your emotions, protecting your feelings, protecting your happiness, protecting your joy, protecting your peace, protecting you. There's so much that goes into protecting you. And if you have family or a partner in your life who is doing anything but protecting your emotions, who's brutally beating them down, well, there's no protection. How many of you feel in your relationship right now like you're not protected? And it's not because you don't have a strong person in your life, but because you feel alone. You feel beat down by them. They're not protecting you. If they're not protecting you, they don't love you. And this is very important for you to understand. And as far as always hopes and always trusts, and always perseveres. This speaks to the people in your life who are always encouraging you, who are always forward thinking, who are always trying to build with you the next level in your relationship. Now, narcissistic people are great at coming into your life and future faking. They'll make plans and all kinds of grandiosity ideas and dreams at the beginning of the relationship, now don't they? But if you notice, later in the relationship, as it progresses, all those dreams just kind of vanish, don't they? And before you know it, you're being met with anger and hostility, and it's your fault that you're not going anywhere or whatever the case may be, but the dreams start to fall apart. They're no longer moving forward. There's no more forward thinking. All those hopes and dreams, they're all gone, right? But love always hopes. Love always perseveres. Love is always forward thinking. So if these things have fallen apart, the person doesn't love you. The person doesn't love the relationship, because it requires love, loving you, loving the relationship, to be forward thinking at all times. So these are important things for you to understand. Now, typically, when we look at this ancient understanding of the baseline of love, which, by the way, is 1 Corinthians chapter 13, 4 through 8. That's what I just read. Many of you are aware of this already. Typically, when we read this, we read it as though we are applying it to how we ought to be, which is fine, and that's great and all. But what we need to start doing is reading this as a measure, as a tool, so that we can now start judging the people in our lives. We need to judge the people who say with their mouths that they love us. We need to judge them based on this measure, everything that we just talked about. This is now our tool. This is the baseline. This is what you're going to look to judge somebody else and say, do you show me these things? Because if you don't, then you don't love me. What's really sick about it is, if you think about this, if these things are not being met, if these things are all a very negative experience, then they don't love you. And you got to ask, well, what are they with you for? Now, that's a scary thought. What are they doing with you? If they don't want to love you, then why are they with you? How many of you want to know that question? Well, the answer to that is dark. You don't want to know. All you want to know is you have every right to say, you don't love me. You don't need a narcissistic person to tell you they don't love you. You don't need your mom and your dad to say the words, I don't love you. You just need to hold up this measure and compare it to what you're receiving and say, you don't love me, obviously, because nothing here is adding up to love. Nothing that these people in your life are adding up to love. If you're struggling with this, as I said before, I'm here to support you. Let's talk. Let's get deeper into this. Even if it's your family, if it's your marriage, let's get into this. Down in the description box below this video, you'll find access for one-on-one appointments with me. I take telephone calls and video calls through Zoom, FaceTime, and WhatsApp, so don't hesitate. Head on down there, schedule some time with me right now, and I'll be back with more videos for you right here on The Royal We. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you don't miss any future Royal We content. All right, share this video with somebody who needs to see it, and I'll be back. Bye.